Hello everybody, we are already into the 5th episode of my show Fabulous Florals with Arati. I hope you've been enjoying the tutorials so far. In this episode, I'll be showing you how to make these pretty and delicate bougainvilleas. So without further ado, let's get started and see how these are made. So today we'll be making the bougainvillea flowers. A little information about the bougainvillea flowers. These white small flowers that you see are actually the flowers of the bougainvillea, and these are the bracts. Now these bracts come in a variety of colors, from brilliant pinks, oranges, yellows, to very pale and delicate colors like this pale pink with a hint of green. So today we'll be making these. First we'll start off by making the flowers, and then we'll make the bracts, and then I'll show you how to put it all together into a sprig. So to make these tiny flowers, what we need is a 33 gauge wire. Now I've cut them to an approximate size of 5 centimeters. You don't have to be very, so this is 6 centimeters and it is fine. You don't need to be very particular about it. However, if it is too short, then you might have trouble putting it all together. So 5 to 6 centimeters is a good length for the wire. Now to make the flowers, what we need is my flower paste by Arati Mirji. We'll be using the white color as well as a very little bit of the moss green. My flower paste comes in 4 shades: white, ruby red, fuchsia and moss green. Now I'll be using the humid variant because here in Bangalore it is rainy season and it is quite humid. Now it depends upon the weather conditions and the environment in the place where you stay. My paste comes in 2 variants, original and humid. So based on your weather conditions, you can decide whether you want to go in for the original or the humid. So to make the flowers, we need a very pale color of green, a very little amount, not too much. So what I've done here is I've just mixed a little bit of the moss green with white to get this pale green shade. Like always, whenever you're using any flower paste or gum paste, always knead it well between your fingers to get it pliable. Now you don't need too much of this paste, just about a pepper sized amount, not even that big. I think we'll be pinching off quite a bit from this. Anyway, we'll keep this for now. Now these are the ones that we are going to make, and these are approximately 2 centimeters in length. So we'll try and stick to that length. I'll be showing you how to make the flowers as well as the buds. Now these are the buds which have not bloomed yet. So I'll show you both of them. I'll also show you how to make the flowers without using a mold. To make the flower, we'll be using this mold that I have. I don't know which brand it is. It looks like it is a Chinese or Malaysian made. I got it from a local store. That is what is available here in India. So if you have, we'll be using the smallest flower impression for our bougainvillea. Now if you don't have this mold, you don't need to worry. I'll also show you how to make the flowers without the mold, but first let me show you how to make it using the mold. For that, like I said, we need a pepper sized amount of flower paste, the pale green shade. We'll be using 33 gauge wire. Now if you don't have 33 gauge, you can also go in for 30 gauge. Now take your ball of flower paste and push it into the wire to about 2 centimeters length. Here you go, you see it is 2 centimeters. Yes, and then what you need to do is you need to twiddle it onto the wire in a carrot shape. That is, I want the base to be a little thicker than the tip. So like I said, I have pinched out quite a bit of the paste. Here you go. Once you've done that, what you need to do is, so you can see that my base is thicker than the tip. Yes, so I'm just getting it a little more thinner. I think I'm happy with this. Now we need to make 3 ridges on this twiddled paste. To do that, I'm using a cutting wheel. You can also use any other sharp tool that you feel comfortable. So I'm just holding it with my other hand so that it does not move while I try and make the ridges, and I'm turning it so that I can get the ridges onto the little bit of paste there. These can be a little fiddly, you just need to be a little patient with it. And so this base is ready. Now to make the flower, we're going to take a very little amount of the white flour paste, not too much. I don't want the flour to be too thick. So again, a very minuscule amount of the paste. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press it into this, the smallest flower impression. I'm not going to, in fact, if you find that pressing it with your finger is not very comfortable for you, you can use your Dresden tool as well. Just push the paste around. It shouldn't be too thick. It should be really very thin, almost paper like, and then coax it out of the mold like so. And then what you do is take the twiddled wire on which you had twiddled the pale green paste, dip it into edible glue. This is just Tylo mixed with water. So I'm just dipping it into the edible glue, wipe off the excess, turn the flower around and just attach it to the base in the center like so. Now one little bit of detailing, I'm taking the sharp edge of my Dresden tool and I'm pushing it down so that I get an indent in the center, and then just give it a little movement, turn it a little upwards so that it looks like a pretty flower. There you go, you have this pretty flower ready. Now this was using a mold, right? I will show you how to make this without a mold now. For that, again, we need a very little amount of the white flour paste, not too much, just a very tiny bit, about this amount. Again, maybe you can say a pepper sized amount itself. Now make it into a teardrop shape by just rolling it on your palm with your finger, and then take a cell stick like so and dip it in a bit of corn flour so that it does not stick to your flour paste. Now push it right into the broad end of the carrot shape that you had made. Make a hollow in the middle by pushing the paste around the cell stick like so. And then what you need to do is take your scissor and make 5 snips in this hollowed space that you have now. 3, 4, 5. So there you go. Now just spread it out, and then with your fingers, again these are very tiny things, so just be very light with your fingers. Don't press it too hard. Have feather fingers. Now if you feel that your petals are a little too thick, what you can do is you can turn it around on the board, and with the broad end of your Dresden you can press the petals down so that they thin out. Just like so. Now once you have that, what you can do is, now you take your 33 gauge wire, and then you pass it right through the middle of the flower, and when you come to the tip, just at the tip let the wire be seen a little bit. That's okay. As you twiddle the paste, you will find that the wire gets hidden because the paste is moving a little upwards. Now if you don't want the paste to move upward, turn it around and then twiddle the paste, and you will find that the paste now starts moving from the base towards the wire where it is not yet covered. Now we need only 2 centimeters at the base, and we want it to be a little broader at the base. So what we can do is pinch off the excess, and then at the base of the neck of your flower you can twiddle it a little more, and then push the base a little upwards so that you get a little thickening at the base, like so. And then what you can do is give it the 3 ridges using, you can use your foam pad rather than the veining board, so that it's a little easier to make the ridges and you don't mar the shape of the flower. I'm trying to get the 3rd ridge. There you go. You have your flower without the mold made. Just give the petals a little bit of movement, and this is ready. Now for the bud, this is the bud. Let me show this to you. This is a very simple thing. Again, take your mid-green, the pale green flower paste. Take about a pepper-sized amount. Roll it on your palm. Take your 33 gauge wire. Push it to about 2 centimeters through the wire, and then start twiddling it upwards. Make the base thicker, and as you go upwards, make it thin. Now I find it easier to add a little bit of paste to make this bud at the tip. Let me show you. Trying to get towards the camera. I hope you can see it now. Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to do. So I've made the base thicker and the tip is little thinner, and then what I'm going to do is, I find it rather than have the paste thin out and again make it thick at the top, because it's easy to blend with this flower paste of mine, I just take a little bit of paste, just a very tiny little bit, and then just push it at the tip and then blend it with my finger, just like so. If you feel that the flower paste is drying up, then you can use a little bit of water. Here it is quite humid, so my paste is quite wet, so I don't need to use any water. And then what I do, a little bit of again the detailing. You will take your foam pad, place it on your foam pad, make the 3 ridges with the cutting wheel, and then I'll make 3 indents at the tip with the cutting wheel, just like so, and my bud is ready. So in a Bougainvillea complete flower with the bracts, you will see that there are some of the Bougainvilleas which have maybe 1 or 2 buds and 1 flower. It all depends upon you how you want to place it. You can have, for some of the Bougainvilleas, you can have maybe all the 3 of them as flowers. Here I have 2 buds and 1 flower. Here I have 2 flowers and 1 bud. So the choice is up to you. Usually as you go towards the smaller flowers, you usually keep more buds than flowers. So we'll take a short break now, and when we come back, I'll show you how to make the bracts. Everybody has a happy place, and mine is in making sugar flowers. Hi, my name is Arati Mirji. I'm a sugar florist, and I have had the honor of winning the Cake Masters Magazine Awards for sugar flowers. I also have an award-winning product, Flower Paste by Arati Mirji, made in collaboration with Sugarine, which has been called Game Changer by those who have used it. You can get it on my website, aratimirji.com. I've been on this colorful journey with my beautiful flowers for about 6 years. I travel around to teach sugar flowers and have now started conducting online classes. To get updates on my class, visit my website and connect with me on Facebook and Instagram. To make the bracts, we need a 28 gauge wire, again cut to an approximate length of 5 to 6 centimeters. And we need a little bit of the white flower paste. So again, let's take a little bit of the flower paste. Knead it well between your fingers to get it soft and pliable. Warm it up between your palms, and then roll it into a cylinder, and then using your rolling pin, just flatten the paste. Now the bracts are really quite thin, so try and get them as thin as possible. However, for making the bracts, we are using the veiners from Petal Craft. This is actually, I don't have a specific veiner for Bougainvillea, so I find that these veiners work quite okay. They are all right for the bracts. So I'm going to be using this. This is from Petal Craft. It is the multi-purpose leaf veiner. So just keep in mind that if you roll your paste a little too thin, then sometimes the veiner might tear your paste. So just keep that in mind. But again, if you want to keep the beauty of the Bougainvillea, keep in mind that the bracts really look nice when they are nice and thin. So I think I'm happy with this thinness of my flower paste. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just erase the top of my central vein. Now to make the bracts, I'm going to be using these heart-shaped cutters, which I have kind of molded to get the shape, or slightly made it a little narrower at the edge and then broadened it towards the tip of the bract. So you can find heart-shaped cutters in your box, and cutter box. I'm sure everybody has heart-shaped cutters. So if you do not have, you can always use a template as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this, and the reason I wiped off the extra part of the vein, the central ridge, is because I need the central ridge just enough to pass my wire through it. And usually I push my wire into a petal maximum to about half, not beyond that. I prefer to have it about 1/3 the length of the petal. So here I'm going to make sure that the central ridge is about halfway into my petal, and then I'll press it down and pull off the excess paste. Now if you feel that your cutter is not very good quality and you are getting frays at the edges, what you can do is you can place your cutter upside down and then place your sheet of paste on top and then cut it so that you get a clean cut like so that you can wipe off the excess paste that comes out, or the frays that come out like this. Yes, so just a little tip about how to get a neat cut for your petals. So here I have a bract that I have cut. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to dip my wire into glue. Usually what I find, especially if your wire is not really of a very good quality, if you dip it into glue, the paper many a times comes off, and then your wire, floral wire, does not stick to your flower paste. So instead of doing that, what I do is I'm going to hold my petal upside down, feel the wire passing through the central ridge only about 1/3 or maximum halfway through the petal length, and then I'm going to press it down with my finger and pinch it at the base, and I find that the moisture in the paste is good enough to adhere the petal to the wire, right? So this is one small tip for those who find difficulty in dipping their wire into glue and find that the paper comes off many a times when you dip it, when you wet it with glue, right? So now that we have our bract attached to the floral wire, place it on your foam pad and smoothen the edges using the tip of your Dresden tool, keeping it about half on the bract and half on the board, foam board, so that you can see exactly where you are pressing down with your Dresden tool. Now if you are comfortable using a ball tool, please go ahead and use ball tools. I just prefer the Dresden tool again because it helps me to see exactly where I'm putting the pressure. So this tool really helps to make out where exactly the pressure is being applied. So I have smoothened, softened the edges of my bract. That's all we need to do. We don't need to frill the bract, just smoothen the edges. Now take your veiner, and if you find that your paste is a little sticky, always use a little bit of corn flour and then place it into the veiner. Now if you notice, I have made a small pen mark on my veiner. That is just so that I know where exactly the central ridge is for the leaf, and because of that most of the time, one of the difficulties that people have while using a leaf veiner is that they don't get the central ridge right in the center of the leaf or the petal. But if you make a small mark, especially if it is a white veiner like so, where you cannot really see the marking, it's very faint, the central ridge. This marking gives me direction as to where the tip of my petal or my bract has to be, so that it is right in the center. And at the same time, I'm also holding my wire at the center of the veiner, and then I'm going to press it down. Just give it a nice massage so that you get all the ridges and the markings, and there you go, you get your perfectly veined bract, right? So now another tip, while making bougainvillea flowers, most of the time the difficulty you face is that once you have dried your bracts, it becomes very difficult to get the 3 bracts together without breaking them, or when you put them together, you find that a bit of the wire always shows. Now here's a little tip to ensure that that doesn't happen. Now you see this foam pad and it has these mounds there. If I place my flower, my bract, such that, so like a butterfly's wing, if it comes up like this, and especially when you have a flexible paste like so, what happens is when you place your 3 bracts together, because they are flexible, they make way for the next bract, and then they sit perfectly aligned like so. And because you've given it that movement where the base is kind of turned outwards, you find that they all sit together perfectly well. So a small tip to ensure that all your bracts are tight around the central flowers that you make, these tiny flowers that you make. They sit snug against them. I hope I'm making sense there. So this is how you dry all your bracts. You keep it in between the 2 mounds so that the base of the bract turns outwards, right? So that is a little about how to dry your bracts. We'll again take a short break, and we come back. I'll show you how to color the flower and the bracts. To color the bracts, we need sugarine kiwi dust color. I'll be using the kiwi dust and the cotton candy and magenta and white and maybe a hint of autumn green. All these are sugarine brand. Now you can use whichever brand you want. Just have a pale pink with you and a very pale green. That should be good enough. And always keep a little bit of white just to make your shades a little mild, so that they don't come onto your bracts as patches. I always try to keep a little white beside my colors whenever I am coloring. I just find that the white helps to blend the colors, especially when I'm coloring on white flower paste. So just a little bit of the white to the side, a little bit of the kiwi, and maybe a little bit of the magenta. Like I said, you can use whichever brand you have. Let me put this away. Yes. So the best part about making this particular shade of Bougainvillea is that you can play around with the colors. There's no rule as to you have to apply pink in one place and the green in the other. You can have a free hand. You can, for some, you can have the pinks at the base, and for some you can have it at the tip. So just have fun coloring your bracts. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of the pink, mix it with my white, and then for this bract I'm probably going to start from the base, not too much, just a little bit, and then I'm going to take a little of the white and mix it with the kiwi here, and then put it at the tip. I'm going from the tip towards the middle, again not too much, just like so. And at the back maybe I'll take a little more of the pink and this time have it to the side, like so, and then take a little of the green, again mixed with white, and then have it to one edge. So this is one of my bracts. Now I can do something different with the other one, and this time what I'll do is I'll take the green and I'll put it at the base. I don't want the green to be too strong, so I'm not picking up too much of the kiwi by itself. I'm always mixing it with a little of the white that I have and then using it. And here maybe I'll just put a little on the edge, and this one just a little bit. Maybe for this I feel like having a little more brighter pink, so I'll just take a little and put it on the edge, just like so, and bring some of this down. And I think that's good enough. Now for this one, maybe I stick with the pale pink. Have some of it on the tip here, and take the green. I'm also leaving a little bit of the white in places. I don't want to cover it totally with the green. So just play around with it, have fun coloring the bracts. So here my bracts are ready to color the flowers that we made. So here is the flower that we made. What we can do is just take a little of the autumn green, dip your brush, and from the base I'm just taking the green and pushing it upwards. Do the same to the other buds, like so. Not too much, just a little hint of it. And then maybe I'll just take a little of the magenta that we had, just to get a nice shade there, just at the base. Again, not too much, just to get the ridges that we had made with the cutting wheel out. And then I'm not picking up any color, I'm just going to run my brush over the flower just to catch the raised parts. Not too much, just a very little bit of it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a very fine brush. This is a beautiful brush from GSARN. I'm just dipping it into my autumn green, and I'm just touching it at the center. Not too much, just a little bit, the center of the white flower that we had attached. Again, there you go, you have your flowers already. One little bit of detailing, you can also take a little of the green, autumn green, and just at the center, the central ridge, you can put a little of the green. And here, maybe because it is raised, what you can do is you can take your brush and just hold it flat against your bract, and you will see that the color catches on the raised part. So do this to all your bracts so that you get a central ridge which has green on it. For the inside, take the thin brush you have and just, you can also dip your brush into maybe mix a little bit of the autumn green with baker's spirit or any high concentrate alcohol, and just you can also paint it on. The choice is yours. Just doing this. You can also, like I said, paint it. I'm catching the central ridge with a flat brush, and we have our bract and our flowers ready. So next, when we come back, I'll show you how to assemble all of this together. To assemble the flower, you need your 3 flowers that you had made, and I'm taking a bit of 24 gauge wire, again approximately about, I'm thinking 6 centimeters. Yes, this is a little above that, it is 7 centimeters, just so that you have a base onto which you can tape your central flowers onto. So just hold it to the 24 gauge wire like so, and to tape it I'm going to use half width of very pale green floral tape. What I've done is I've taken the full width tape and just cut it into half, that's all. You also get those tools which help you cut it into half, and sometimes I think it's also these half width tape rolls are also available, so it's up to you what you want to use. I find it very convenient to just cut it into half, so I just use that. Now hold the tape at the base and pinch it so that your tiny flowers are secure, flowers and bud is secure to the central wire like so. I'm not bringing it down, I have to attach the bracts as well, so I'm just keeping the tape over there. And this time, now it helps to have your petal flexible because like I said, you want your bracts to sit flush against the central flowers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just giving it a slight bend, not too much, and I'm going to just tape it at the base again, just like so. Now take the next one and position it to the side of the first bract, and again tape it. Take the next one, and this time you will see that because the bract is still flexible, you can accommodate the third bract also, so that there is no gap in between, and again tape it secure. Now just to ensure that all of the wires are being covered at the base of the bract, just give your wire a nice tug just to make sure that it is sitting flush against your tape. Otherwise, sometimes what will happen that your bract might start dancing or moving around, and you don't want that. And now you see that because it is flexible and because of that particular movement we had given to the bract, they are all sitting very neatly and snug against the central flowers. Now take your tape and tape all the wires together like so. And then look at your flower, and if you feel that it needs some movement, you can also make use of any tool you want and just push it out the way you want the movement of the bracts and the flowers, like so. There you go, you have your Bougainvillea flower ready. So I have a few over here. Now to make the leaves, it's just I've shown you how to color the leaves in the previous episode, so I'm not going to show you that in this episode. I've just made a few of the leaves with hints of brown. I've used sugarine chocolate brown to dust the young leaves for the sprig. So here I'm going to take 22 gauge wire, and I have taped the leaves at the base. I don't like to show any wire at all. So always whenever you make leaves, if you feel that not all leaves start at the base, you know, they don't attach to the central wire at the base. There are many of the leaves, many varieties of leaves that start with a little bit of stem showing, and if that is the case, then you must always cover the wire with a little bit of tape. So that's what I've done here. I've covered them with a little bit of tape, and then I'm going to take my half width tape and I'm going to start taping it. Now for the ease of taping it, I'm just going to cut this a little short so that it's more convenient for me to tape it. Yes, this is much better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stagger the leaves like so. I have a few bougainvilleas made here. So what I can do is I'll take maybe this one and let me tape it a little bit more and attach it to the central wire. Again, make sure you're pulling your tape to release the glue. Take a leaf. Have one more. Attach another flower. Another leaf. So you can make such small sprigs and then attach them to a central stem. It is all up to you. Bougainvilleas look really lush when you have the leaves and flowers all close to each other. I think I'll attach this one over here. And then one of this. And once you've attached all your flowers to the central stem, take a look at it. If you feel that you need a little more thickness to the stem, you can always go in for your 18 gauge wires, put two or three of them together and then tape it, or even use a 16 gauge wire. It's all up to you, depends on what you have available with you. Right? So I'm just going to leave it at this point. Take my plier, snip it off. Maybe just at the base, I'll just take a little more of the tape. And this time I'm taking full width tape just so that it looks neat. I'll go right to the base, turn it around, go over it, and then look at your sprig. See how you want your flowers to be placed. And just a little bit more of detailing. Here we'll just take a little bit of the brown, the chocolate shade, and then just color the stem with that. Just go onto the stems. Like so, so that it looks like a natural stem. Go right down. Now these look really pretty if you want to put it on a cake. Then you can make such small sprigs and then put them together. However, use those plastic posy picks to put your wire through. And I think this is ready. So here you go, you have your Bougainvillea sprig ready. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I'll see you in the next episode.